Welcome to Minutes with Lynnis, brought to you by Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond. Embark on this journey with me, Lynnis Mullins, your certified holistic living and wellness expert for women over 40, as we explore tips for an ever-growing mind, body, and spirit in just a few minutes. Hey everybody, how is it going? It's been a little while since I've had a chance to talk with you just by myself, or at least it feels that way. Things have been pretty interesting. And today on Lynnis Minutes, I wanted to focus on something else. And I'm hoping that someone is on a line around that can participate and maybe give some ideas as well, because I had an interesting day yesterday. I had worked all night, and I'm not recommending this. It's definitely against wellness. I got this creative thing going and I couldn't stop. And the next thing I know, the sun was coming up. And I really hadn't slept. So I called into my prayer line and my Bible study line. I said, you know what? I won't be on, because normally at 5 o'clock it's prayer, 6 o'clock is Bible study. Couldn't do it. I knew I wouldn't be able to add much value. I knew I wouldn't be present. So I went to bed. When I went back to bed, the television was still going on. And I made the mistake of not turning it off. And what was on was the news. My husband is a habitual news watcher, and so he was watching the news. And normally with me, I like to stay informed, but I don't like to, be immersed in the details. But these days, how can you miss what's going on? And I'm not going to get into the whole politics of it, although I think what's going on is horrible. And I think that racism is definitely rearing its ugly head in this country. And as an African-American female, I'm definitely feeling some kind of way. So as I'm sleeping, all this is going on in my negative subconscious, and planning all this negative energy. And when I woke up, which was only like 2 hours later, unfortunately, I didn't sleep as long as I know I should have. When I woke up, I was just feeling heavy and feeling uncomfortable in my skin and feeling kind of sad, not anxious, but just not feeling good. My vibrational energy was very low. I'm using words that maybe Don James, the wonderful Don James, who teaches people how to raise their vibration. She's the one who's coordinating my retreat in Costa Rica. I think that's what she would say. It was a low vibration energy I was feeling, because I was listening to things that were very low in vibration. Things that are low in vibration are things that are normally negative messaging. Things that aren't positive, things that don't edify, things that don't lift up, but things that tear down, that are delivered with anger and resentment and hatred. Those are all very low energy. And I could feel that in my sleep. So when I woke up, I was even more tired than I was than when I went to sleep. I began to wish I hadn't gone to sleep. Actually, I began to wish I had gone to bed when I was supposed to, and I wouldn't be feeling this way. So I wanted to talk about that because I had some problems getting unstuck. Now, I use all the tools in my arsenal, and I've got a lot of them. I mean, I am a survivor of an anxiety disorder. So I know all the tricks and tips and tools. I teach them all the time. That's what people hire me for. And none of them, it just seemed like I needed something else. So I began thinking about, if one of my clients were to call me and say that they needed to get unstuck from their negativity, what would I tell them to do? Because getting unstuck, it is a skill, because our society doesn't necessarily support that. Our society supports staying in it. I mean, we seem to thrive on negativity. It gives something people to talk about. People get all their anger and frustration in regards to other things by talking about that issue of concern that's publicly being spoken about. If you're feeling in a great mood, you probably don't participate in that. If you're feeling in a bad mood, you probably participate in that even more so, and just keeps it going. I mean, I think my personal opinion is that negativity after a while can be addictive. And so what could you do to get unstuck? And if you have some ideas, please type them in the comments. I do want to first welcome all of the News Wellness women that have been joining us this week, and also say thank you to all the subscribers on YouTube and Instagram. My IGT program is picking up steam, so thank you for watching and for joining the Instagram page. And if you haven't joined already, it's at Wellness Woman 40. I do other kinds of sharings on IGT, so Just wanted to mention that. Anyway, I began to think about what do I do, or what would I tell someone to do? And I wrote these things down, and then I had this aha moment this morning because I was going to talk more about natural hair care and skincare, but this was just really in my spirit, so wanted to share it with you. First of all, sometimes when people are in a negative space, they don't want to acknowledge it. They try to do everything they can to forget about it, and sometimes they get into other behaviors. Sometimes they get into taking medication or overeating or binge watching television or having a lot of sex or whatever, to try to keep from recognizing that they're feeling down, that there's this negative feeling that they're feeling. So I think instead of doing that, I'm not saying don't do that, but in lieu of going into some behaviors that might seem even ultimately more obsessive and get you into a whole nother track that's not healthy, maybe what you need to do is first recognize that you're feeling that way. One of the first things I learned about dealing with anxiety was that one way to get past it is to go ahead and lean into it, which for years I was doing just the opposite. And then, of course, things would get worse. I was doing the opposite. I was trying to do everything I could not to feel anxious. Instead, I was told, go ahead and lean into it. Recognize it for what it is. Allow yourself to feel what you're feeling, instead of denying it. Denying it really is another form of almost beating up on yourself subconsciously, because that feeling is going to continue to be there until you recognize that that's how you're really feeling. The other thing that I think is really important is to practice some self-compassion. We don't do a lot of that. We sometimes feel guilty about it, say, oh, no, I don't want to do that. So many other things are going on. I need to take care of this person, that person. And I'm not saying not to take care of business or any of your responsibilities, but I am saying that first and foremost, take care of you so that you can continue to take care of those other responsibilities. So for me, practicing self-compassion yesterday, when I was feeling the way I was feeling, I went ahead and sat outside by the pool and just looked at my body of water, which would be great if it was an ocean, maybe one day, but it's not an ocean, it's just a pool. But, I looked at the body of water. And then I did something that I mentioned once before in one of my self-care tips for women in midlife. I looked up in the sky and took a deep breath and just, said a prayer saying, Father, please help me. Please help me to get past this emotion. Tell me what to do. I'm a Christian, so I pray to God. Maybe someone else, he does meditation or, the pet rock, whatever your thing is, whatever your higher calling is. Part of my self-compassion is appealing to that and recognizing that this is something, the way I'm feeling now, I'm recognizing it. And now I'm practicing self-compassion by, asking for guidance and listening closely to that inner voice that's telling me what to do. I think it's important to listen to that inner voice, to get your internal GPS is what I like to call it. And I know others call it that as well. It's not my term. It's something that I picked up along the way. That internal GPS is your best Geiger counter. It's the universe. It's the Holy Spirit. It's that subconscious, that inner voice talking to you that's telling you what you need to do. Now, yesterday when I was sitting by the pool, I said, I need a sign. I need a sign that I'm going to get past this. I'm going to be okay. I need a sign that you can even hear me. And right as I was saying that, I got a phone call from a friend of mine. We've been missing each other since my dad died. I mean, we've talked, text-wise. She lives in New York, but we haven't actually talked. And out of the blue, maybe not so much out of the blue, but out of the blue, it felt like she called me. And we had a really nice discussion about getting unstuck, which gave me further ideas from talking to my dear friend Yvette Goff about other things that we need to do when we are feeling in that negative frame of mind and we're having problems, removing that feeling. One of the things we talked about was the need to take a look at the toxicity in our lives, because sometimes when, toxicity can kind of get to be addictive. To me, toxicity is listening to those news reports when you know over and over again what they're going to be saying, the kind of guests they're going to have on, you even know the energy they're going to be exuding, especially when something breaking news has happened, which breaking news is just about every 5 minutes. I kid you not. I can remember when breaking news would come on and I'd be like, now breaking news comes on. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. which is really sad because sometimes the news is really important. But right now, the way they're using breaking news is really, we've become numb to it. We've become numb to a lot of toxicity if we allow it to remain in our lives. And then it becomes addictive after a while. We begin to miss it. Gee, where's that, negative nanny girlfriend? I haven't talked to her for a while, and maybe you do want to talk to the negative nanny girlfriend, but when you do, you want to make sure that you're shored up in terms of the negativity she might exude into your life. So I'm all for removing toxicity. Sometimes the toxic people in your life you cannot really remove because they're such an integral part of your life, like maybe a sister, a parent, or a significant other or whatever. But you can remove how they make you feel when they're in that mode. So it's either, if you can, you remove the toxicity, and you begin to develop tools that are going to help you deal with removing the toxicity. Oh, forgot to turn off my phone. Do you like my ring? It's old fashioned, but I like it. The other thing that you might want to think about doing is asking for a positive sign. That's what I did yesterday. I asked for a positive sign. I asked for something that was positive, that I wasn't expecting, just to let me know that ultimately, well, who's in control in the universe is not all this negative stuff. It's asking for something. And in my case, it was my girlfriend giving me a call. I find that many times when you look for positive signs, it's amazing how all of a sudden they just start popping up everywhere. And sometimes one of the ways to really help look at a positive sign is basically to take some vitamin G. Okay. You know what vitamin G is? Of course, vitamin G is gratitude. Right now, a dear friend of mine is having a gratitude challenge on her page, the wonderful Keisha Dixon. And it's for 28 days. And I have to admit, I've missed 3 days. Oh my God. So I have to catch up. But when I was participating in it, it really made a difference. And the whole focus is to remember to count your blessings in all areas of your life. And when you're in a negative frame of mind, one way to chase away the blues, to chase away all that negativity and everything else, is to count your blessings, to count those things that you are negative, that you are grateful for, to switch the script, to flip the script and start thinking about positive things that are going in your life, things that you are grateful for right now, things that are thriving in your life. You begin to focus on that, even though you may not be feeling it, still focus it on it anyway. And then the other thing I was thinking about is taking a look at changing your environment to a more positive and healing one. Now, what I do a lot of the times is that I can't always like get away from the house, but I do come into my prayer room. My prayer room is also my office. But when I really need that break from toxicity or from something negative that's happened during the day, I come here to my prayer room, and I have my computer face this way because I wanted to show you that this is my little prayer corner right here where I sit right there behind me. And I have my prayer blanket there and my Bible and my journals and my Wayne Dyer books and Louise Hay and all the different stuff, my affirmations and things that I like to read, the various journals that I write in, they are all there. And it makes a difference. Having a war room or a prayer closet or a certain area in your home where you can go to kind of flip the script and regroup and begin to feel better in your skin, I think is so important, especially for women and especially in midlife. In midlife, maybe some of the children are gone and you have that extra room you can turn into a prayer room, or maybe you have more room in your closet now because their stuff is gone or they've gotten their own apartment, or maybe they're just older now and don't need the same space. They're spending a lot of time in their room, and so you can like section off a piece of your family room or something. It can be just a space where that's the space you go for prayer and for reflection and for meditation. And sometimes that's a place you go when you're not feeling great and you just need to take a breath, take a breather. Another thing I think that's wonderful while you're sitting in your environment and getting recharging your day, re-energizing your spirit, renewing that positive that lies within all of us, is begin to start making some positive plans. Seriously. begin to start thinking about what you want to be doing moving forward. You know how I always think about staying, talk about staying present. I think it is important to stay present, but I also think it's important to think about maybe how you want your life to be moving forward and to make plans to begin to do that. I think one of the things about getting unstuck, especially if you've been feeling like this for a long time, negative, kind of some negativity, or maybe feeling depressed, or feeling overwhelmed, feeling anxious, feeling fatigue all the time, feeling unappreciated, feeling no love from others or even for yourself. When you're feeling like that, it's time to sit down and make some plans to change that. Because one of the things I posted today on the wall, if you are sitting in the group today and you're looking at this, I talked about the fact that we have choices. We don't have to continue to feel bad. We don't have to continue to be unwell. We don't have to continue to keep putting ourselves on the back burner. And I know a lot of us do. I do too. In fact, I start getting really anxious after a while if I haven't done something for someone else, because I'm feeling like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. And it's not that there's anything wrong with doing things for others, but we shouldn't be so stuck on looking outside ourselves to feel appreciation and looking outside ourselves to feel value. We shouldn't be so preoccupied with that, because many times if we place our value on the feedback from others, we get disappointed. It can be really depressing if you're waiting for someone to tell you how great you are, what a wonderful job you did, how proud they are of you, and all that other kind of stuff. We need to start saying those things to ourselves. And one way to do that is to begin to recognize your value and make positive plans. That's why I've been talking to you all about this whole idea of going to Costa Rica and spending some time, some self-care, self-love time, where you get an opportunity to really do you, to really focus on those things that are most important to you. And I would say that probably what's most important to you, in many ways, besides your family and your loved ones, is yourself and how you're feeling. I would think that would be extremely important. I like to think of it this way: if we don't continue to start, putting the oxygen on ourselves first, pretty soon we're going to be too depleted to put it on anyone else. So start making positive plans and think about the idea of going to Costa Rica. Just go to my website on wellnesswoman40.com and click on the banner that you just saw right there, the Costa Rica banner, and check out this page. And this tells you all about the Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond self-care, self-love retreat, and it has all kinds of information. And then just make an appointment with me, and we can discuss the things that maybe you might want to be thinking about when it comes to being well in your mind, body, and spirit, and how Costa Rica can help you get there. I know it sounds funny that taking a trip might be what you need to do in order to feel better. But I think we all know that a change of environment is always healing. A change of environment, when you're doing life-affirming things, self-care things, self-love things, fun things, things that give you joy, things that give you aha moments, things that help to relax you, renew you, and basically unstick you, get unstuck from feeling the way you've been feeling. Believe me, I know what you're talking about. Yesterday, how I got unstuck finally was I called Don James. I had a meeting with her for the Costa Rica trip, and I got unstuck making positive plans and thinking about all the great things that are going to be before me as a result of going to Costa Rica. So please check out wellnesswoman40.com. Check out wellnesswoman40.com and click on the banner that says Costa Rica and start making positive plans that are going to edify your mind, body, and spirit, and get unstuck. You deserve it. You have value. You need to start working on your own self-appreciation and get unstuck. So thanks for listening. And for those of you who listen to the replay, please write down the things that you do in the comments to get unstuck. I would love to see what it is that you do to get unstuck. I want to make a running list of this kind of stuff just for my own edification, because sometimes I run out of ideas. I don't know it all. Far from it. So much I need to know. So please write down, what do you do when you are feeling stuck? What do you do to feel better in your skin? I would love to hear it. Thanks so much. I'll see you again on Friday for Lynnis Minutes. We have another Lynnis Minutes, Sharing is Caring, and I'll be talking with you then. Thanks so much for listening, and have a blessed and unstuck positive day. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you have something to share, please comment below. For more Wellness Woman videos, be sure to click the subscribe button below and check out my Facebook group, Wellness Woman 40 and Beyond. But most importantly, don't forget to love yourself and educate, encourage, and empower your mind, body, spirit wellness.